Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Destructive News Network. News, no matter how destructive. We're going to take a look at a video, a news story that was posted by the sheriffs of Flagler County. Let's take a look at Flagler County. This outline right here. Northeastern coast of the U.S. state of Florida. And their population seems to be growing a decent amount. Let's see where they are when it comes to Jacksonville and Orlando. They're kind of right in between the two. They're a growing county. They have access to beaches. It looks like a really good spot for gang activities. Boom. We got Jacksonville, Gainesville, Orlando. These two are dangerous areas. This area, there is an active war zone for teenage gangs, black teenage gangs. In a lot of the gang activity here and the violence here is directly funded by recording companies like Atlantic Records, Empire Records, like major U.S. corporations are funding the war here with teenagers. And I imagine a lot of the times, a lot of these teenagers, a lot of these groups in these gangs, they are moving out when things are getting too hot, especially the ones that are making a lot of money off of recording contracts and drugs, illegal drugs, illegal firearm sales, things like that. I imagine that they'll start moving to the suburban areas because that's what they do. The criminals become successful. The ones that are successful, what they do is they go, dang, it's really violent. It's really dangerous here. I don't want to die. I want peace of mind. So what they do is they move themselves to the suburbs. This seems like a prime spot to upstart a new branch of a gang. So I imagine the steady growth of this place, the population demographics, the way they break down as we see here, 10%, 11, they were 2010, they were 10.94%. Now they're about 9%. 20% was my magic number years ago. That number for me, 20% of the population being black or African American, you're looking at Chocolate City status at 20%. Those numbers will probably have to be adjusted, and we'll see which way it goes. I'm thinking the number's probably going to go lower just because there's been a lot of migration since COVID. A lot of people moving around the country, changing the scope of things. So let's take a look at the video.
Arrest in the murders of two 18-year-olds in Flagler County. The sheriff saying that both the victims were the intended targets of gunfire.
It tears a community apart. It certainly tears families.
Look what we got here. We've got looks to be a semi-automatic pistol. I don't know what the hell. I think he's just holding two different guns together to make himself look cool.
Apart. Stupid.
Another gun, another teenager, another gun. Glorified by pictures on social media.
The Flagler County Sheriff's Office announcing 7 arrests in
Look at these. Look, my man got cheese puffs in his head. Look at this. You got some two light-skinned brothers here. Probably ain't even black, honestly. A lot of these guys aren't even really black. A lot of these guys are like Caribbean, African. They're not actual ADOS. They're not actual descendants of slavery in America. A lot of these guys are islanders.
connection to their shooting deaths.
They're also searching for Terrell Sampson, seen right there with a wanted sign under him. The sheriff says the bullets were meant for him and not the two 16-year-olds. News4Jax reporter Ann Maxwell joins us live to explain how this all unfolded. Ann?
So 3 people were arrested in connection to these homicides, and 6 other people were...
It's a nice little coastal area. Looks nice.
Arrested for things unrelated or accused of things unrelated to these homicides, according to the sheriff. He says, however, those 6 suspects are tied to crime that's been occurring in South Bunnell and parts of Palm Coast. The sheriff said investigators believe what led up to these 2 deadly shootings was a beef between 2 wannabe gangs. 9 people arrested and 1 wanted. Flagler County Sheriff Rick Stolley says this is the result of an exhaustive investigation into the shooting deaths of 16-year-old Noah Smith in January and 16-year-old Kamarian Hall in early May.
Multiple incidents were linked involving a handful of criminal thugs ranging in age from 14 to 28.
14.
Ernest Hall is Kamarian's grandfather.
I just want to say thank you to the whole sheriff's department. We lost Kamarian, but the guardian angel is all over him right now. But it don't make sense for young people killing each other.
The sheriff says rival
It does make sense. The problem is you don't want to make sense of it.
groups known as Get Stepped On or
GSO, the Get Stepped On. This is an actual gang. This is a criminal organization of young adults, and they use teenagers often to carry out their violent crimes. The enforcers now are teenagers because they know that teenagers often can avoid criminal courts, also are dumb enough to believe that they can kill someone, get caught, and then be able to have a normal life moving forward. So they kind of get tricked off the streets. These people, these 20-year-olds, these 23-year-olds are, in a sense, they prey on kids much like sex criminals prey on kids. But the problem is these teenagers, none of them are victims. In my eyes, they're not victims. They are raised to be this way.
GSO and the Bunnell side shot at each other from cars over a period of several months and posted threatening photos and videos on.
So this is what they do. And the problem is, yes, these guys are criminals. They're terrible people. They're demons. They even call themselves demons. Like, look, Halloween horror. This is cool. This is the culture right now. The culture is to be a demon. It's to be a killer. It is to be a murderer, a mass murderer. That's the culture. They love and rep this stuff so hard, and it's so real to them that they will post pictures of themselves with illegal firearms on their social media accounts. Law enforcement has no idea what they're doing with this new age crime. The problem is these people that are in law enforcement are too old and out of touch with the new generation of criminal. They need to retire. They need to be replaced with people that are from this era, that understand the inner workings of the minds and these people. Let's keep going.
On social media.
So this is Patterson and Williams with their guns and taunting, making their videos.
He says on January 12th, the
taunting and making their videos. He's talking about what I talked about briefly about these record labels, these major multi-million-dollar, some billion-dollar corporations in the recording industry are literally putting these people, these teenagers, these young adults on their payroll, and they are using them to sell and make ad revenues on YouTube. YouTube will take my videos down if I talk about certain subjects. If I tell you the truth about a news story, YouTube will take down my video. But if a gang member in northern Florida kills someone, makes a video about it to a beat, and starts rapping about the murder that he actually committed, YouTube will monetize it, and then they will put a DCA. So if you were to use it or play the video in your video, they'll strike your video down, or they'll put ads on it and send the revenue to the account that created it, which is a gang member, and they will make money, thousands, tens of thousands, some of them hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in ad revenue through YouTube and Google straight to a criminal gang organization. And they use that money to buy more illegal firearms, drugs, and commit more murders. It's actually really sick, and YouTube is at the center of a lot of these gangs.
Members of the Bunnell side, including Terrell Sampson, were standing on South Anderson Street when a car operated by members of GSO started taunting them, circling them, and opening fire.
They call the taunting and circling, it's called spinning. BTB, or bend the block. Bend the block, spinning, twirling. That's what they do. If they catch an op spotter, if an op spotter catches an op, they'll drive around their block in a circle, messing with them, taunting them, flashing guns out of the window. It's called twirling and spinning the block or bending the block.
Killing Noah Smith. On May 3rd, the sheriff says Stephen Monroe and Devondre Williams of GSO were driven to East Bowie Street where they opened fire, killing Kamarian Hall.
I want to say that this was a mistaken guy. He was actually just a basketball player. But the thing is about being in these communities in not just Florida, but a lot of other states have these same types of criminal culture, gang culture. Like GSO, get stepped on. Getting stepped on means to get killed. That's what that term means. There's a song called, it's a song by Nardo Wick. Go Google Nardo Wick. It's called Steppin', I think. He talks about this. Go check that video out. We're going to continue with the story here.
The sheriff says the intended target for both shootings was Terrell Sampson, who is charged with the attempted murder of Noah Smith. Sampson remains wanted by law enforcement.
We will not stop until we arrest you, and I promise you, you will get caught.
And
then you'll get released because it's racist to put black people in jail for crimes that they've committed.
Death of Noah Smith, Tyrese Patterson, Devondre Williams, and Stephen Monroe are charged with murder, and Terrell Sampson is charged with attempted murder. In the death of Kamarian Hall, Williams is charged with another count of murder. The sheriff says investigators believe there are others involved with these groups as well as these homicides, and the investigation is ongoing.
But the thing about it is, again, like these guys, they're too old. They've been in law enforcement since before probably I was born. That's a big part of the problem, why they are unable to stop this stuff. They can only trail it, and they're trailing it way in the distance. These crimes that happen, they're not catching on to these crimes for months. And then they start their investigation. They're behind the 8 ball. You've watched the first 48. You know how important it is to find and get leads in the first 48 hours of the crime or murder happening. And these guys are catching on months later. And that's why they can't do anything. It seems like they're doing nothing because they are doing nothing. They think they're working. They're spending taxpayer money. They're logging overtime hours, but they're not closing cases. It's because they're too old and don't understand the culture. He called them a wannabe gang. Sir, this is not a wannabe gang. This is a massive criminal organization that is terrorizing your county, and you seem to be doing nothing about it because you're not intelligent enough. You're not smarter than the people committing the crimes. That's the issue. That's why your people are suffering. And when people start to understand and get more educated on the style of crime that is happening these days, the better decisions they can make about their law enforcement decisions, about their municipal organization and how that plays out. You elect a mayor. The mayor appoints police leadership. Police leadership build a police department and hire candidates to become law enforcement. As those people go through the system in rank, they become detectives. They rank up. They become sergeants. They become leaders of task forces. The problem is it's based on an old system that was created in the early 1900s. It's a union-based system. It's a rank system. The more seniority you get, the higher you go. There's a problem with that. The older you get, the less connected you are with the community and the culture. The less you know, the harder it is for you to do anything. So the system is backwards. Younger detectives need to be in these departments that have an understanding of the crime. Until that happens, these gangs are going to continue to form. They're going to continue to create problems in cities, and they're going to continue to put your life in danger. Hit that like, hit that share, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.